of this wonderful community. We are so blessed to be a part of you. So because of that, my wife and I decided that we will honor you with a performance and that we would celebrate our Black history and culture, because life, human life, and history begins from Africa. And because of that, we thought that we would have a wonderful moment together today. So I want you to brace yourself for one of the most beautiful occasions that you will have ever experienced in your life. Some members of my cast are on their way, but before they come, I'm going to start off with some of the entertainment. The first thing that we've done is to pass out a brochure to you. That brochure, the brochure tells you about my theater company, Dehkontee Artist Theater Incorporated. It's a non-profit 501c3 cultural and educational organization that is devoted to promoting African arts and culture here in the United States of America and beyond. This organization was organized 39 years ago when I was a student at the University of Liberia. And during that time, there was a need to promote African arts and culture in Liberia. And for those of you who don't know what Liberia is, as you can see the flag there, Liberia was established by free blacks who left the Americas after the Emancipation Proclamation to return to Africa to establish an independent nation so that they will be a sovereign people. And during that time, people doubted that the black man was capable of self-rule. It's not possible that they can rule themselves, they thought. But our forefathers who came from here and went to Africa, they proved to the world that the black man was capable of self-rule. But even before that time, during the days of the Egyptian civilization, we had emperors and kings and rulers, world-class rulers and educators who did everything imaginable, to the extent that up to today's date, when you travel to Africa, you are going to see some mysterious things that occurred. You're going to see the wonders of God. I gave you an example, the pyramids. Up to today's day, the pyramids are centuries old. But up to today's date, no architect in the world can ever emulate that wondrous architectural design that the ancient Egyptians constructed. A second example, no one in the whole world can replicate the embalming of a corpse so that it can last for centuries without getting rotten. The ancient Egyptians were able to do that. They embalmed their dead, and up to today's date, after centuries passed, we have mummies that are still intact. That shows you how great your ancestors are. And I thought that it was a blessing for us to share some moments with you, all of you here, to let you know that you have a rich cultural heritage. And that also that I am your son, she's your daughter, and we are in this compound with you. And we want to let you know how much we appreciate you. Every day we pass by you, you speak to us, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and we feel so blessed to be a part of you. And what we would like you to do is to also pass the word on to others so that they'll know that there's an opportunity for our children and grandchildren to learn about the history and culture of Africa. Several times we visited some schools in Prince George's County, and we were very disappointed because most of the time when we asked the children, what do you know about Africa? Cheetahs come from Africa. Lions come from Africa. Animals come from Africa. And I said, well, wait a minute. Okay, animals come from Africa, that's true, because you see animals in the zoos here in the United States that were brought from Africa. But don't forget that human beings come from Africa, that your ancestors came from Africa. Those things are not taught in the schools, unfortunately. I think we all can do something. We can all make a difference. And that's one of the reasons why we thought we would do this performance for you today, because we wanted to share with you our concerns. There's a concern. The little kids, you know, like the way how you grew up, you established a legacy for us. I'm able to travel from Africa and come here and become a citizen. I'm able to come from Africa to come here and enjoy privileges like any other citizen, whether Caucasian, Asian or not. That was because you paved the way, and we appreciate you. And also we would like you to know that Africa is your home. Anytime you are welcome to get on that plane to go to Africa, to see what it looks like, to see where your ancestors came from. It is not true that Africans don't love you. That is not true. People tell us, oh, well, when you go there, the blacks in America don't love you. That's not true either. Because I came here and I got African American parents. I went to school at UNC Greensboro, and there were, a black family took me in. Interestingly, also a white family took me in too. So you see, it depends on the individual. But the legacy that was established by Dehkontee, by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and all these great people, Booker T. Washington, all these great people did a lot of great things. But if we don't pass these things on to our kids, it's just going to be a waste of time. We're going to go backwards. So today, we are here to celebrate with you. The mistress of ceremony has just arrived, so I would just kind of introduce her, and then she will pick up from where I have just started from. She is none other than Mrs. Muriel McNair, and Mrs. McNair, along with her sister Annette and others who will be participating in this program, identified with me and saw the same vision that I have about our children and grandchildren here in Prince George's County. They said, you know what? It's a good thing that you have brought to this county, and we are going to stand behind you. And then I said also, you know, from where I come from, if you want to do anything and to be successful, we have to go to the old folks to get their blessings so that we'll be able to do what the Lord wants us to do. So that's the reason why we are here today. We are here today because we want to share with you the beauty, the wondrous works of our ancestors. And we want you to feel proud and want you to know that we love you, and that anytime when we're having anything, we will always keep you posted. And we want you also to speak on our behalf to the representatives, county leaders, whoever they are, educational people. Let them know that our kids need to know about their history and culture. So at this time, I'd like to pass the floor over to Mrs. McNair for her to do what she does best. Please give it up for Mrs. McNair.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muriel McNair, and I'll be your host for this afternoon's festivities. How's everybody? Great. We prepared an exciting program to educate and entertain you about the Black history and culture and your right to make an informed decision, and please vote. We will be featuring 3 different aspects of our performing program: dance, storytelling, and acting. We will begin the program with a series of traditional African dance steps done by Madam Komasa Bobo. Madam Bobo is a celebrated traditional African dancer from the West African state of Liberia. She was a member of the Liberian National Cultural Troupe and has performed for many African leaders and international diplomats and audiences on the continent of Africa and the U.S. She is also a distinguished member of the Dehkontee Artist Theater and presently resides in Pennsylvania. Her first performance will depict a traditional village life. In Africa, most of the villagers are farmers. They grow their own food. Madam Komasa Bobo will depict through dance how that is done. Storytelling is a very important aspect of traditional African village life. Many of our African history and traditions were handed down to us by word of mouth, through oral traditions or storytelling. Therefore, back in the day in Africa, the storyteller was the custodian of our culture and history. And our ancestors learned moral lessons through the stories that they were told by the village storyteller when they gathered around the village fire at night after a hard day's work on their farms. Usually, the village storyteller actively engaged the villagers in the storytelling progress by asking them to interpret the morals of the stories that were told, or the village storyteller asked the villagers to join him to sing a song or dance to the tone of that song that he sang when he narrated the story. So please be prepared to actively participate in the storytelling segment of this program. 2, 3. The third segment of our program consists of 3 monologues featuring Black culture and history matter, themes from the poetry collection of our executive director, Dr. Gbaba. The titles of the poems are The Hidden Mysteries of African Civilization, to be performed by Ali Kamara. In America, I understand February is Black History Month, which will be enacted by Annette Landers, and The Lone Grand Shui, or The Lone Counselor, which will be presented by Dr. Gbaba. We will conclude our program for the day with Madam Bobo coming on stage to do a festive dance, followed by the introduction of our cast members and staff. and a vote of thanks from Dr. Gbaba. But before we begin our fantastic show, let me tell you a little bit about Dehkontee Artist Theater, Inc. Dehkontee Artist Theater, Inc. is a nonprofit 501c3 African-focused cultural and educational organization that is devoted to the promotion of Black history and culture through the performing and visual arts and Afrocentric literacy. DATI was organized 39 years ago by Dr. Gbaba at the University of Liberia, excuse me, West Africa. For some of you who do not know Liberia, it is the first Black independent republic on the continent of Africa. It was founded by free slaves that returned to Africa after the Emancipation Proclamation to establish self-rule as an independent nation and sovereign people. Hence, there is a very close political and historical tie between the United States and Liberia. Over the decades, Dehkontee Artist Theater became a household name in Liberia, where the group, under the direction of Dr. Gbaba, performed for African presidents, world-class diplomats, and the international community. DATI was also organized at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in the early 1980s when Dr. Gbaba pursued graduate studies in theater at UNC School of Music. Theater and dance, where he earned his Master of Fine Arts degree in directing and acting. Dehkontee Artist Theater has also performed in other parts of the United States, including Pennsylvania and Maryland. Our first public performance in the state of Maryland was held at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts on January 9th, 2016, when we presented The Frogs and Black Snake in Frogsville. We have also toured a couple of schools in PG County to teach our children, particularly children of color, the importance to know and appreciate the cultural and historical heritage, as well as the history and culture of others. We believe that through the performing and visual arts and Afrocentric literacy, we can help our children and grandchildren appreciate cultural diversity in order to help reduce racial prejudice, bias, and violence in our society. We do live performances for children, adults, and senior citizens in schools, communities, and group homes throughout Maryland and other parts of the United States. We also conduct Afrocentric literacy classes to teach children and adults about the history and culture of Africa. Furthermore, we conduct writing and acting workshops and classes for those who would like to improve their acting, speech, and writing skills. Presently, we have submitted an application to PG County Public School District to partner with PGCPS to teach African arts and culture and conduct after school. Afrocentric literacy classes for students of all grade levels. Public support and the support of the political leaders in PG County, as well as PG Public Schools District leaders and principals, has been slow in coming. However, we are very grateful to Council Member Todd M. Turner of District 4 and Council Member Andrea C. Harrison of District 5, as well as Ms. Donna Hooper and her staff at the Bowie Gymnasium, who have identified with our program in PG County. Also, we believe that through your ardent support as senior citizens, we may be able to make headway in reaching out to our targeted audiences in this county, the state of Maryland, and the entire U.S. Accordingly, your financial, material, and moral support may enable us to fulfill our mission and goal to educate and entertain the general public about Black history and culture through the performing and visual arts and Afrocentric literacy. For this reason, we would like to appeal to you to help speak on our behalf to your county, state, and federal senators, representatives, and policymakers to give us support we need to carry out our task. of promoting Black history and culture throughout the U.S. and the entire world. You can also make a personal donation through our corporate account, and your contribution is tax deductible. You can make a donation online through our website at www.DehkonteeArtistTheaterInc.com and click on the donate button to make your contribution through our PayPal account. You can also make the check payable to Dehkontee Artists Inc. via mail to 1610 Excalibur Road, apartment 105D, Bowie, Maryland 20716. Or through our Wells Fargo checking account 393-197-2677. The order of our performance. First, we will begin our performance with a series of African dance steps by Madam Kamasa Bobo. The music that she is dancing to is from the Kron ethnic group of Liberia, and the dance steps depict regular village life that is centered on the farming cycle. Brushing, felling trees, sowing seeds, harvest season, and depicting the normal role of females in the African village, such as preparing food for the family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Madam Kamasa Bobo as she depicts a normal village life through a series of exuberant African dance steps. Executive Director, Dr. Joe Gbaba, a traditional African royalty and cultural expert, originally from the Republic of Liberia. Apart from his training in acting and directing, Dr. Gbaba is also a seasoned educator, playwright, and author of several self-published books. He has written, directed, produced, and acted in several of his plays, one of which is The Frogs and Snakes in Frogsville. Dr. Gbaba will narrate 3 African stories that have 3 different morals or themes, but you will decide what each theme is based on your individual understanding of what you hear. The first story is entitled The Frogs and Black Snake in Frogsville. Dr. Gbaba will be accompanied by animal characters who will pantomime the events as Dr. Gbaba narrates his story. The animal characters will leave the stage at the end of the story so that you will be asked what you think the message or moral of the story is. After a few of you respond, our storyteller will proceed to the next story, which is entitled The Story of Darbo and the Animals in the Village. Again, you will be asked to provide the theme of the story before he tells you the final story, Monkey Come Down. I will be back after you say what the moral of Monkey Come Down is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Gbaba and the cast as they begin the storytelling segment of our show with The Frog and Black Snake in Frogsville.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you some fireside African stories. You know, one of the ways in which we were able to preserve our African history and culture was through oral tradition. We didn't have them written, but our grandfathers told us, then we told our children, and our children told their children, and that's how we were able to preserve our culture intact. Also, storytelling is an entertaining aspect of African culture. When the villagers go into their farms during the day and after the hard day's work, they all come home to the village, take bath, have their evening meal, and then they sit down around the fireside to listen to the village village storyteller. So today I'm the village storyteller and you are the villagers. Now in Africa, like here, if someone wanted to tell a story, they would say once upon a time. But we're not going to do that because we are in Africa right now. So I'm going to teach you how to say once upon a time in an African language. And then we would go from there. Now, the village storyteller will begin by saying, Bia, Bia, gotta put a dona. And then you, the villagers, will say, Hinyo. Okay, and one of the reasons why the village storyteller engaged the villagers was because it was at night and he didn't want the villagers to fall asleep when he was telling his stories. So to make sure that everybody is awake, he will have a little role for you to play. So your role will be for you to say Hiyon. When I say mine, then you will say Hiyon. Okay, is that all right? Can we do that? All right, let's get ready for that, okay? So I will say, Bia, and you will say, Hiyon. Bia, oh man, you are so vibrant. Get us up opinion class. Wow. This is wonderful. I'm having a ball in here today. This is great. Okay. Also, storytelling in the African village is is important because that's how we teach our children moral values. Respect for elders, respect for self, respect for others. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not bear false witness. All these values are inculcated in the stories we tell. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories, and at the end of each story, I'm going to ask you what the theme is, what did you understand from the story. So we're going to start with the frogs and black snake in Frogsville. But before I start the story, I also like you to know that most of our African stories are based on animals. Why? Because we live in nature. So we interact with our immediate environment. So we don't talk about human beings, we don't gossip about human beings. If we want to say something, we say it about the animals because we don't want to offend anybody. So let's get started, and you know what to say. I'm going to say mine, and I'll be expecting you to say yours. Bia, bia, put it, got it, put it, dona, bia, dona, bia. Once in a village, there lived frogs, some frogs. Toad frog, bullfrog, spring frog, and black snake. Well, these frogs lived in Frogsville. So you would gather that Frogsville belongs to frogs. But all of a sudden, like the way how when you're moving around here, you will get a U-Haul, to pull your things and bring them. All of a sudden, we saw Mr. Black Snake coming in a big U-Haul truck and bringing his things to Frogsville. So it was like, wait a minute, this place is supposed to be for Frogsville. What is Black Snake doing around here? Well, anyway, Black Snake is an animal just like the frogs. So they said, well, okay, maybe there may be peace. But we all know that Black Snake preys on frogs. So maybe there may be something in the making that you and I don't know about. Well, we shall see. However, in Frogsville, the frogs just couldn't get their act together. Bullfrog didn't like spring frog, and spring frog didn't like toad frog. They were always at each other's throats. Oh my goodness. That was to the taste of Black Snake. And Black Snake said, oh man, I think this is going to be good for me. Because once the frogs are divided, I can use my divide and rule tactics and eat up all those fat, greasy frogs. Well, guess what? The Council of Elders passed a law that all animals must hold elections, as we are going to be doing next month, I suppose. So, well, Spring Frog got up and said he wanted to be chief of Frogsville. Bullfrog said, not a bit of it. If you want to be chief of Frogsville, our Bullfrog want to be chief of Frogsville as well. Uh-oh, there was in Spring Frog. Toad Frog jumped up. Oh no, Spring Frog and Bullfrog, I'm not having that. I want to be chief of Frogsville. So they kept arguing among themselves, and in the final analysis, well, one of the frogs got angry. He said, you know what? Said no. He said, no what? Said no. Say, I'm going to be nasty. You know what I said? You're going to be nasty? He said, yes. Sir. How are you going to be nasty? He said, well, I'm going to vote for Black Snake. Bullfrog and Toad Frog decided to vote for Black Snake. So even though the frogs were in the majority in Frogsville, because there was no unity among them, the frogs decided to vote for Black Snake. Well, guess what? When they voted for Black Snake, you go for it, get your frogs and eat them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story about the frogs and Black Snake in Frogsville. Give them a big hand clap. Now, as I told you, we're in the village and we don't want anybody to fall asleep. So I'm going to ask you, what did you learn from this story? Anybody? Any volunteer? Come on, let's talk, let's interact. Yes? What did you learn from the story?
It's how to try to get along with people.
Yes.
And to understand humans are animals too.
Yes.
So you have to watch all around the gossip.
Yes.
And being negative to other people.
Yes.
So you have nothing to do with them. Why you want to be so mean?
Yes.
With the grace of God.
All right.
I understand it very well.
Oh, okay, very good. Give her a big hand clap. Yes, there's somebody out there. Yes, ma'am. What did you get from the story?
What I got was that the Black Snake was dividing dividing the snakes from each other.
Yes.
So they couldn't get along.
Yes.
They couldn't get along. And so they decided to go along with what Black Snake was offering, and that was himself.
Yeah.
So he conquered. He conquered the
The
frogs.
frogs, yes. Okay, give her a big hand clap. So we have one last participant to say something before we go to the next story. Anybody wants to say something about the story? What did you think about it? Ma'am?
United we stand.
United we stand, divided we fall. Give her a big hand clap. So you see how important storytelling is. It's very important. It's simple, but you can teach children moral lessons from a very simple plot in a very simple storyline. And that's the richness of African culture. Sometimes people wonder how Africans will travel thousands of miles from Africa and come here and be successful and be so resilient. Those are the things that we receive when we grow up in a way that we should grow, so that when we are old, we will not depart from it. Okay, let's go on to the next story. Our next story is about Dabo. Now we're gonna learn some African names, okay? Dabo is a Bassa. It's from the Bassa language of Liberia, and Dabo means old lady. So let's pronounce that word, Dabo.
Dabo.
Dabo, yes, Dabo. Dabo means old lady. So we say, Bia, gara, oh, come on, you're falling asleep on me. Please, don't fall asleep on me. All right, let's do it again. I know you can do better. Come on, Pino. I know you can do better. Bia, gara, yeah, that's my people. I love that. Okay, so once upon a time in the village, there lived Dabo. Dabo was 350 years old. But mind you, Dabo had the energy of a newborn baby. She could wash her own clothes. She could cook her own meals. She could do everything, clean up the place, etc. Dabo was blessed with 560 children. So she had so many children. Give it up for Gbaba, please. She was the mother of the century. 550 children. They all grew up to be successful men and women. And they all went out in the world to seek a better living. And left Gbaba in the village with dog, with goat, with chicken. So they were in the village. Everything was going well. But one day, unfortunately, while Gbaba was preparing her food, the fire chunk fell on a dry straw. And the smoke started coming out. So the first animal that saw the smoke coming out was dog. So dog went to goat and said, goat, I see smoke coming out of Gbaba's house. And Gbaba is the only person who lives in a hut. And where there is smoke, there is fire. So let's go, come and join me so we can go and put out that fire before it gets too late. Goat said, please, I've got too much to do and much better things to do. I ain't got no time to go and put out fire for Gbaba. So away goat went his way. And the smoke started coming and coming up and coming up. So dog was very concerned. Dog said, man, I'm not going to sit here and let this happen to Gbaba because Gbaba's children have been good to us. So they are not here. We should be the ones to take care of her. So dog went to chicken. And said, chicken, Gbaba's hot. Can you come and join me so that we can help put that fire out before it gets too late? And chicken said, please, I'm on my way to a party. I ain't got no time for that. And I was like, you go, chicken. You do your thing, chicken. And chicken was going, okay? All right. So unfortunately, the place lit up. And the whole hut got burned. And Gbaba passed. Well, in Africa we have traditions. When someone passes, we send out word to the relatives to come for the burial. Gbaba's 250 children all came from all around the world. The village was full, packed to capacity. Of course, when people gather together, they have to eat. So they sat down and said, well, we need something to eat. They said, well, why are you looking for something to eat when we have chicken? Come on, get the chickens. Get the chickens and let's have some good meal. And they got all the chickens and had themselves some good chicken soup. Some hot chicken soup. It's a good meal. Okay, chicken. Also, in the village, as time went by, when someone of Gbaba's age and status passes away in the village, you have to slaughter goats, sheep, and cows. So it was like, well, you know, Gbaba was, how old did I say Gbaba was? Yes. Well, so that meant they had to slaughter so many goats, right? Yeah. So they said, why do you know? Because of double status, we can't just keep killing chickens. We have to slaughter some goats and stuff. So they got the goats. Slaughter the goats, and they had themselves some good goat soup. They ate it. And also, when someone of high status, whether as a king or a leader or queen, an elder passes away, we slaughter cows. So they said, well, in order for us to end the mourning ceremony, we have to slaughter some cows. So they got all the cows in the village and they slaughtered them. And they had a feast and they gave Gbaba an honorable burial. That's the end of my story. Now, what did you learn from this story? Anybody? Yes? Sir? You? Yeah, ma'am. You want to say something? No. Oh, okay. Anybody? Yes?
I associated it with the law of karma.
Pardon me?
The law of karma.
Yes. Yes. What is that? Can you explain that further for all of us to understand?
Yes. When you do the wrong thing, though God has forgiven us for our sins,
Yes.
when you do the wrong thing, you still have to pay for it.
Yes.
Right? It has nothing to do with God.
Yes.
Right? And they paid for it,
Yes.
not assisting her so that her house wouldn't burn down and she wouldn't lose her life.
Yes.
And they won't be
Exactly.
trouble.
We all need to be one another's keepers. That's very important. Very, very important in life. Anybody else want to say something else concerning this story? Hey, buddy, back there. I see you.
I'm glad you knew. But what I got from the story was,
Yes.
from the beginning when the fire first started,
Yes.
and sometimes when things first started and you know about it, if you go and help to do something then, it's be better.
Yes.
Than to wait till later when everything is out of control.
Yes.
Start from when it's small.
Yes.
And then you nip it there, then it'll be better when later on and as time goes on.
Amen. Give her a big applause. Thank you very much. That was very good. So this brings us to our last story, right? Yeah, our last story is about monkey, bamboo. Where monkey? Monkey! Bamboo! Chicken! Come on, Jabasi. Okay, so we do the regular thing that we usually do. I'm not going to speak English because English is not my native tongue. So I'm not going to say once upon a time. I'm going to proudly speak my language and say, Pia, gotta put a no, and you will say, Pia. Give yourself a big round. Once upon a time in this village were many animals. They had bamboo. They had monkey. They had jackal. They had chicken. But in this village, they had a big mango tree. This mango tree was in the middle of the village. And it had so many ripe mango fruits. But the only person who could go up in the tree the mango tree was Monkey. Monkey was the chief of the village. So Monkey went up in the tree. But because Monkey is so active, as he jumped from branch to branch, the ripe mango fruits fell on the ground, and the animals had a feast of the ripe mango fruits. Well, everybody was happy because all of the animals were getting ripe fruits to eat. Because Monkey was up there, he was eating his, but he was also throwing some down for the animals beneath the mango tree to have something to eat. Okay. One day, Chicken got up and said, "You know what?" They said, "Oh Lord, Chicken, what are you up to again?" Chicken said, "Well, why does it always have to be Monkey up in the tree? And he has to eat all the ripe fruits first. And after he eats all that he wants to eat, then he drops down the little ones, the remnants for us to eat." So everybody, all the animals said, "And so?" Chicken said, "And so, I prefer that bamboo go up in the tree too." But as I told you before, sometimes when we're telling our stories, we sing and we dance. In this story, we are going to sing a song. And the song goes like this. Because the animals wanted Monkey to come down from the tree so that bamboo will go up to be the chief of the town, to be up in the mango tree, they had to sing a song. So this is how the song goes. Monkey come down, tie, tie, tie. Monkey come down, tie, tie, tie. So you will join the chorus. The chorus, you will say, tie, tie, tie. Monkey come down, tie, tie. Everyone be there. Bible started eating more ripe fruits. Nothing dropped. The third day, no fruits. The entire week, no fruits. When Monkey was up in the tree, we had so much to eat that we had wasted some of the fruit. How come Babu is up in the tree now and we can't even get one fruit to eat? So Babu heard it. And you know Babu is very strong. So Babu heard it. Babu said, "Did I hear anybody say anything about complaining about mine not giving you fruit?" And as they talk, he just whistled. Babu was a dictator. Oh yes, that's why they wanted. They had Monkey. They said Monkey should come down, right? And they sang for Monkey to come down. So after so many months without any food, the animals starved. But that's what they wanted. They wanted Monkey to come down for Babu to go up. So when Babu got there, that was what happened to them. So, the end of my story. So, what did we learn from this story? Who would like to be first? Who would like to tell us what we learned from this story? Yes.
This is an uneducated guess.
Yes.
What I received from it is that we should stay in our own lanes.
Yes.
Not try to do what the next person is doing, but
Right.
do what God has given us to do.
Yes. All right, thank you. Give up, big hand clap. Yeah, anybody? Yes, ma'am.
I'd rather be satisfied with what we've had.
Be satisfied with what you got, right? Give up, big hand clap. We gotta be satisfied with what we got because we know what's coming.
That's right.
And when you vote, you better make sure you vote right too. Get up and vote. Get up and vote.
Yeah.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our storytelling segment. And the next one, of course, Ms. McNair will let you know what it is. Thank you very much. This is a celebration dance.
Conclude our performance today with 3 monologues from the poetry collection of Dr. Gbaba. The poems throw light on our rich history as members of the Black race and people of African descent. So we have saved the best for last. Without much ado, let us begin the final leg of our performance with poems from the poetry collection of Dr. Gbaba. Our first actor is Ali Kamara. He He is originally from Sierra Leone, a former British colony and independent African nation on the west coast of Africa. Ali is a wonderful, talented actor. Watch him as he presents the hidden mysteries of African civilization by Dr. Gbaba.
Give it up for Ali.
As an endowed scholar and artist of African descent, proudly born descendant of the royal household of the Neon dynasty of the crown ethnic group of Liberia, my heritage and binding duty is not only to preserve, but to make known to the world, all of the universe, about the hidden mysteries of hidden African civilization. 'Tis time to reveal to the world and all mankind the hidden mysteries of African civilization that's been hid under the lampstand for centuries in a deliberate attempt to suppress and discredit the black race by thwarting and corrupting our cultures and histories so that the white race may seem and reign supreme. However, whatever is done in the dark shall eventually come to light. For the truth is weightier than falsehood. So for all of you who've been removed from your African ancestries, who have not stepped foot or even bothered to travel to Africa, nor have you traveled to any part of the world to find out about your African roots like Alex Haley did, but yet you are calling African American or Black Negro of the Caribbean Sea. There's a lot to learn about the motherland that meets the eye. So I won't confuse you by saying too much or too little too soon, but let me hold your hand and help you take one baby step at a time so that you may know that when you hear the expression, God's chosen people, you'll know that it is no other than your African ancestors. First, the reason why Africa is shaped in the form of a question mark is because there are more questions than answers in life. Therefore, the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom is unending, spaceless, timeless, boundless. However, if you want to obtain more truth about the truth that lies hid, by all that befuddled mankind in his quest to seek knowledge and wisdom, then Africa is your place to go. In Africa, you will find some of the wonders of the world. The pyramid and the Sphinx of Egypt, built many centuries ago by the human hands of white slaves, captured stalwart and gallant African kings and rulers from barbaric tribes of Europe and Asia Minor and far ends of the earth. In Africa, you will find the remnants of the great libraries of Alexandria and northern Egypt, ransacked by angry barbaric tribes. Not to mention the great Cairo and the university situated in Timbuktu. In the historic west of Africa, the state of Mali, where the great Sundiata Keita was emperor. Through these great African walls of teaching and learning, ancient Greek and Roman philosophers, who are the likes of Homer, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Archimedes, Thales, they all flocked to seek the knowledge of African truth. Wow. I'm sure that you heard of the Fertile Crescent along the north-flowing black and white Nile River, the longest and mysterious river in the world that defies the laws of gravity because instead of flowing downstream, as some rivers do, the Nile River flows in the opposite direction, upstream. That is why it is one of the 7 wonders of the world. The great Nile River flourished the most ancient African cultures. The great masonry, astrology sprouted to give rise to the construction of the aqueducts, the pyramids, the things that no other civilization in the world can deny or outshine. In Egypt, you will discover mummies embalmed million years ago that not even the most sophisticated scientists in the West can reproduce. In spite of all these glaring achievements, innovations, inventions, Westerners will falsely argue that Africa is the dark continent, and nothing comes out of Africa but slavery. Yet the raw materials used to construct Western skyscrapers that are used to construct highway bridges, Africa provides. How dare you deliberately deprive Western kids the truth of life and blindfold them to the humanities of mankind? How dare you? Tis it not a fact that without Africa, none of the world would be existing today? Whether you like to admit it or not, the black race is the original race, a force to be reckoned with now and in centuries to come. It is time that the world and all mankind realize the mysteries and the hidden truth of African civilization. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is Annette Manners. Annette is an avid supporter of the arts and a theater enthusiast. She's a local artist born and raised in the state of Maryland. She will be doing for us in America. I understand February is Black History Month, written by Gbaba. Please welcome Annette Manners to the stage. In America, I understand that February is designated to be Black History Month. And the rest of the months of the year, I suppose, should be whose history? Does my blackness cease to exist beyond the month of February? Do those who mandate us to celebrate Black history in the shortest month, only 1 month out of the year? Sure. I wonder what scholars, Black scholars, our Eurocentric scholars, what walls they have walked through. I wonder what fountain they have drank to gain their knowledge. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that all knowledge comes out of Africa. All history has come out of Africa. Comes from the fertile Nile River Valley where all life began. And our Yosua, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, he is immeasurable. He is timeless. He is omnipresent, omnipotent. So let no man or woman put a time frame on your worship and celebration of God and of Black history. On the solid rock, stand. Stand tall, stand proud, so that those who are on sinking sand, their fate is up to them. God is our guider and our leader. We must follow his path always. Celebrate our history. Celebrate our lives. May we all sing together. word Jiedueh is an African expression which means a soothsayer or a counselor. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Gbaba to the stage as he enacts his poem,
The Lone Jiedueh. Jiedueh means a soothsayer. It means a counselor. I'm going to tell you a story about an African counselor and what he did. And as you can see in my hand, I have a cow tail, a symbol of authority and power. The lone Jiedueh lived in a hut near the little grassy road that led to the creek. And in this little hut, he had a mat, a stool, a gourd of palm wine, which he offered his clients when they came to visit him, a sheepskin that he wrapped around him when he counseled his many clients. And his clients came from all 50 states of the United States of America, as well as other spheres of the globe. They all came with their problems to see the lone Jiedueh, the lone counselor, to have their needs fulfilled. Some of his clients came from Bowie, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Greensboro, North Carolina, Kentucky. Some came from Paris, France, London, England, Moscow, Russia, not to even mention those who came from Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Guinea, Ghana, Mali, Togo, Kenya, South Africa. They all came in twos and threes to see the lone Jiedueh, the lone counselor. And listening skills he had to his fingertips. He listened cleanly to his clients with undivided attention, as if he himself were a dumb fool who had no speech of his own. Occasionally, he would respond with a or a nod of head. And the paraphrase here and the paraphrase there, cleverly drawing from within each aggrieved heart the deeply buried hurt feelings that would have otherwise exploded within his clients, thus helping them to realize, to pour out their rotting guts in a manner unbeknown to themselves. This lone counselor, how wise he was. He was blessed with the gifts of tongues, and he spoke every imaginable language under the sun. He spoke English, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese. He spoke Italian. He spoke some African languages, Kran, Kru, Grego, Basa, you name it. And he was as wise as anybody could be. This lone Jiedueh, this lone counselor, he was such a wonderful person. He welcomed everyone with his whole mind, heart, and soul. He showed no bias or prejudice toward anyone, but instead, he welcomed everybody with his body, mind, and soul. This lone counselor, he was so Christ-like. He was so pure, so innocent as a newborn babe, and so loving as love itself, so forgiving as forgiveness itself. He was like a big wide cotton tree with big wide branches in which the birds of the air made their nests, and a cool, refreshing brook from which all living creatures on the earth quenched their thirst. Human nature, he argued, is divided into good and evil. So, if each of us were to closely examine ourselves, we would have to split ourselves into two equal halves, good and evil. Because within every man, there is some dint of good and some dint of evil. Therefore, counseling goes beyond advice giving. It is the process by which we live the pains and agonies our clients undergo. It is the process by which we heal the wounds caused by the traumas of war. The traumas of war and the stripes of life. Hatred, deceit, jealousy, racism, sectionalism, you name it. Therefore, my dearly beloved, I urge each of you to go placidly in this world and make this world a much better place to live.
Yes. Yes.
Emulate the fine examples of the divine soothsayer and embrace all you meet with love. Forgive those who wrong you, so that through your good deeds, the seeds of forgiveness may be sown throughout the land. Serve the rich, serve the poor. Serve blacks, serve whites, serve all peoples of the earth. Be like the lone divine soothsayer, the lone counselor, the lone Jiedueh, who lived in his little hut near the little grassy road that led to the creek. Amen? Amen.
We wish to thank you and the management and staff of Penn Oak. For those of you who would like to be included on our mailing list and to register as supporters of Dehkontee artists, please sign your names on the sheet at the front desk after this show. We will keep you informed of our future programs, and we'll make sure you receive discounts during our shows in the future. But before we go, let us call on Madam Gbaba to do a final dance for us before we call the rest of the cast members to the stage. Madam Gbaba. Once again, please welcome to the stage members of the Dehkontee Artist Theater. Ali Kamara, Annette Landers, Gbaba, Dr. Joe Gbaba, Jiedueh, our videographer, and me. I'm over the mic to Dr. Gbaba.
All right, final remarks. We just want to close by thanking all of you for taking, time off your busy schedules to be here this evening. I want you to pass the word on to others. The video recording that is being done today, we have an occasion to play it in the cinema so that you all can come and watch yourselves, and also invite others to come and join you in the cinema when we have it. And also, we have a sheet that we're going to pass around. Please feel free to put down your names and let us know so that we can be in touch with you. And don't forget to tell your councilmen and women that our kids need good, solid education. And that we can be a part of the education of our children. And so we want you to take out your phones and call those councilmen and women and Mr. Rochelle, Baker, and everybody else, and let them know that Black history and culture matter. We want it to be taught in the schools. We want our children to know about their ancestral past and present. And thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your love. And at this time, we would like to invite you all to come so we can take a happy family photo together. Please join us here. Thank you. Before we do that, does anybody in the community want to speak on behalf of the community to at least talk to us?
I have something here.
Yes, go ahead, man. And your name is?
Eleanor D. Gordon Jones. My original name is Eleanor D. Gordon. I have a picture here of my great-grandfather.
Yes.
He was a slave. Wow. I brought this up years ago when I was a teenager from my grandmother's. Sally was his daughter, the oldest. And my great-grandfather was very successful. He's one of the Fuller Brush companies. Slave, one of the best of the best. In Burlington, North Carolina, he raised my mother, Mariah, and him, till Mariah was killed in front of my mother by a horse and wagon that went out. It was spooked from the thunder and lightning. Quentin Fuller is one of the best of the best. I've given these heirlooms to my family. I'm very proud of him. In 1915, 15 years old, he was born at the turn of the century. Never knew basically where he was, but Sierra Leone has come up many times because I have many friends of different parts of Africa. I'm going to church with them, 7 Days Adventists. No matter who they are, where they come from. I want y'all to know. This man taught and taught. He was mean. He didn't take no stuff. I have that blood in me. That's why I am who I am.
Amen.
And I salute my mother, part Indian, my father Cherokee, but right here, my great-grandfather Quentin Fuller, he had namesakes as well. My mother taught me so much about my background. I have a large portrait up in I've given it out, like I said. These are heirlooms. Everybody doesn't have this. Thank you, Jesus. I have it. And that's why I brought them down here, to let you know why I'm strong. Oh, God. I'm so strong. I want you to please know you're never going to take me down, because I'm a child of God. Amen. I salute all of you. Amen. Whatever you do, where you go, but you're not going to take me down. I got some of the best blood in my spirit. Amen. I'm determined. Whatever. I am who I am, and I won't told. Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. Anybody else want to say something before we leave?
I would like to say,
Yes.
on behalf of Pino Village and
Yeah,
Yes.
the staff and whoever, it was so educational.
Thank you.
And to be almost 80 years old and not to know nothing of your background. I just want to thank you for coming and for sharing with us. And I think everybody here learned something.
Amen.
Again, I want to say thank you on behalf of Pino Village.
Amen.
And don't let it stop here. You're one of us now. You're going to have to teach us what we do. And thank you again for coming.
Oh, thank you so much.